Hey, it's Micheline with Fit and Healthy for Yourself, and today I wanted to somewhat talk about what really is the keto diet. What really is the ketogenic diet? And I don't really like to call it a diet because diets are temporary. You know, we do them for a few weeks, we lose the weight, and then we go back to our normal eating, the way we ate before, and all the weight comes back on, and then we go on to the next diet because we're like, okay, that one didn't work. No, it did work. It's just that you went back to your old eating. That's why in order for you to really lose weight, you can't go on a diet. You have to change your lifestyle. And you have to change your eating habits pretty much permanently. It doesn't mean you can't enjoy a treat here and there, but mainly you need to change your eating habits permanently. And therefore, a diet isn't really the right word. I like to call it more of a lifestyle. So, and the ketogenic diet can really become a lifestyle. You can do that permanently. You can do this as a way of living. And it doesn't mean you have to give up your carbs for the rest of your life. You can always strategically add them in. It all depends how your body works. Again, you will learn how to listen to your body and how it reacts to everything. So, so what is the ketogenic diet? Basically what it is, it's a high-fat, low-carb diet or lifestyle. But let's keep the diet going because it's a lot easier to talk to that way. So it's high-fat, low-carb, but it's also moderate protein. It's not a high protein, moderately protein. So basically what you're doing is you are restricting your carb intake and you are increasing your fat intake. And that is not just any kind of fat because we still can't just eat whatever we want. We do have to keep it to our healthy fats because those are good for our bodies. Because our body does need fat. Fat actually does a lot in our body. It protects our organs, it strengthens our bones, it acts as a messenger to let the protein know what it's supposed to do. It keeps our metabolism going. So it protects our heart, our liver, our brain, all of these things. It still, it does. And our body can't make their own fat, altogether. It needs to burn what it has. So most of us like to lose a couple pounds, so we have a lot of fat stored. So we can actually use that as energy. Yes, fat can be used as energy. And this is actually really what it comes down to, because our bodies run on energy, and energy can come from two sources. It either comes from carbs, sugars, or it can come from fat. But primarily, our body immediately goes to carbs and to sugar. Any carbs that we eat, carbohydrates, anything that we eat that contains carbohydrates, may that be from grains like pasta, bread, rice, oats, any of those, may it be from vegetables or fruit, bananas, fruit. All of our fruits have sugar in it. Those are all carbohydrates. Vegetables like potatoes, sweet potatoes, turnips, carrots, they all have high carbs. So all those, and carbs are basically what our body turns into glucose. It raises our insulin level, and it uses it as energy. However, here's the little problem with that. We can't really store glucose for energy in abundance. We can only store a very little amount of it. Any excess carbs we have, any excess glucose that our body can't burn at that point, gets stored as fat because we have very small energy storage that goes for glucose. So that's why it also means, every 2 to 3 hours, we need to eat again because our glucose, our insulin level drops, and our energy stores are empty, and that's when the cravings come back, and that's when we need to eat. And that's why we also tend to crave sugary foods or carby foods, because that's what our body needs in order to burn more energy. So the only time we actually burn fat is when our insulin drops and when we don't eat. And unfortunately, the only time when we really do that is at nighttime, when we sleep. That's when because we tend to sleep for a good 8 hours, 8 to 12, depending how long, our insulin drops and we actually run out of glucose. And that's when the body uses fat to burn for energy, so our body can do its whatever it does at night. Replenish everything, nutrients, changes blood over and all that. So it still needs energy for that. And that's because it doesn't have any glucose, it uses fat for that. That's the only time we really do that. Because throughout the day, we keep raising our insulin level, we keep feeding our body carbs, we're feeding it glucose. So it keeps running on that. But to be honestly, we don't have to. We can actually we can run on fat. But in order to do that, we have to take away the carbohydrates. We have to take away the glucose, and our body will actually get the message. It will take a couple of days, or depending how heavily carb addicted you are, it can take a few days, it can take maybe a week or two for your body to get the message and turn over to just looking for fat to burn. But it is possible. If you take out the carbs, if you don't eat any more carbs, you eat no bread, no grains, no pasta, no cookies, no sugar, no fruit, no starchy vegetables. So that means no corn, no peas, no potatoes, no turnips, no that. Stick to salads, broccoli, kale, cucumbers, peppers, tomatoes, all those that are a little lower in carbs. And because you still need a little bit of carbs, you can't just go, some people go completely zero, but it really restricts you on what you can eat. So therefore, if you do that, your body actually will learn to look for fat. But in order to help your body really do that, you're much better off to really feed it high fat, especially in the first 2 weeks. So that means eat plenty of bacon, grass-fed beef, avocado, coconut oil, butter, cheese, if you're not allergic to dairy. So, eat a lot of it means have 2 slices of bacon in the morning. Have an avocado or 2. Don't just have that little quarter piece that you usually been told to just stick to. No, have the whole avocado. Eat coconut oil by the spoonful. Put butter in your coffee. Actually, it's not that bad. Eat lots of cheese. So really uptake your fat intake, so your body knows, oh, I'm getting a lot of fat. I actually get energy source here. I can just burn that. And fat also keeps you full longer. So after the 2-week transition period, you will notice that you can easily go 12 hours without eating. Because your body is full. Your body has plenty of fat on your body that it can burn. So therefore it doesn't constantly need to be fed. Those hunger cravings go away. So because it starts burning the fat that you have, and that's where the weight loss comes in. I went to my doctor, I lost 20 pounds, and she's like, what have you been eating? I'm like, bacon, hamburgers, avocados, butter, lots and lots of butter. And, but I cut out the carbs. I gave my body a different energy source to burn from. If I give it if I go back to eating cookies, sugars, fruits, and pasta and grains, my body will immediately go back to that. If I eat also fat at the same time, that will be stored as fat, because the body will only burn either one. If you eat both, one will get stored as fat. So that's why you have to make a choice. If you have plenty of fat to burn, you might want to stick with that instead of the carbs, so that your body can burn what you already have. So after the 2-week transition period, when you realize your body is really burning it, and you're losing the weight and you feel full, you can actually decrease your fat intake a bit, so that your body will really mostly use what you have on your hips and thighs, and so, and then when you at your regular level and you're at the weight you want to be, you can actually put more fat in. You can maybe strategically add some carbs back in, maybe not every day, but maybe some days you will have some strawberries, some other days you might have some pasta, and you won't immediately gain that weight back because your body kind of knows how to burn what back then. But it will take you a little time to get there. But once your body is in a fat burning state, you can really eat nicely. I mean, you won't actually want to eat. You can fast for quite a while. You don't have to constantly run around every 2 hours looking for food. And it's easier to keep the weight off. I mean, I've done keto now for 5 months and I lost 20 pounds, and then I went off keto for 2 weeks while I'm on vacation. And I barely gained 2 pounds, which immediately came off as soon as I went back onto keto. So, I mean, that's the first time ever. I usually gain 10 pounds on vacation. And then it takes me another 8 months or a year to take that off. But this worked nicely. This is actually finally a lifestyle I can find that actually works. So, and you get a lot of energy. I actually I have no problem getting up at 4:30 in the morning to do my workouts. And I'm still up like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. My energy is there. So this is really what it works, and if you want to give this a try, give it a try, but you got to give it a little time. And because your body can't just like this switch over. It doesn't suddenly say, oh, now we don't eat carbs and we eat fat. Okay, I know what to do. No. You've been eating for years and years and years. In my case, I'm eating for 38 years that way. It took a month to kick over, to really get there. So it's going to take some time, but you got to stick with it. And you got to be strict, especially during the first month until you get there where you don't have... you got there when you're not hungry anymore, when all your cravings went away. When you see that cookie and that cupcake, and you can just walk by and say, nope, not today. That will become so easy, I swear. It is the best thing. When you can walk by a cake and not eat a slice, this is what I like. Because you can always go back and not gain a pound. But you don't have to. That's when you're there. And when you're there, then you can, ease off a bit. But until you get there, you kind of have to be strict. You have to say, in the first 2 or 3 weeks will be tough. So, take everything in your house out that you can't eat. My house does not have any bread. My house has no crackers. My house has no cookies. I have no pasta here. I have rice for my husband. But I have plenty of bacon. There will always be bacon in this house. There will always be eggs in this house. There will always be avocados in this house. I have plenty of butter here and salads, but there will be no fruit right now. Because, again, right now it's on a strict period. So you can do this. Give it a try.